Well, hi everybody. This is Michael Steltzer. I'm doing this video in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where I am residing this summer. Today is a big day, especially for the people of Wisconsin. The recall attempt of the people of Wisconsin to get Scott Walker removed from the office of governor is coming to a point today, and at I think 8 o'clock tonight, which will be what, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning Berlin time, we will know if it's been a successful attempt. Anyway, it's also the night for the meeting of Democrats abroad, of the Berlin chapter, Democrats abroad Germany, and I thought I would tell you a little bit about the trip that I was able to take to attend the global meeting of Democrats abroad in Puerto Vallarta on between the 18th and 20th of May. Yeah, this global convention, it was pretty important for our organization. I was there with our chair, Quade Williams, and also participating on WebEx. A number of people did that. Sort of a telephone video conference was taking place parallel to the actual meeting. So people who could not personally attend were also able to participate. Incidentally, any of you would have been able to attend. I do know that our chair, Nancy Green, did participate the entire meeting on with the use of this technology. So she knows just as well as I do what happened there. Anyway, I did have a privilege and an honor to be there. I also had the opportunity again to share a room with our international chair, Ken Sherman. So I was right there in the middle of things. I saw how exhausted he was at the end of that very long meeting, very weary, and I think he was glad to go back home to recuperate a little bit. There were three important things that happened at that meeting. The first was the election of the global delegates to the Democratic National Convention in Charlotte. As you know, we did have our global primary where a number of people were elected to go, but there also are three global delegates who get elected by the Democratic Party Committee Abroad, DPCA at-large delegates. That was the one job. Our voting strength depended upon how the members of Democrats abroad who voted in that global primary voted. So the more people that voted in the country, the more clout that country had. So our delegation of three participants, chair, vice chair, and I as voting representative, had 31.67 votes per member. Other country committees who did better than we did, like France, they had 51.67 votes per person, and others who did not fare so well only had half a vote, as a total of 1,000 votes. Anyway, a complicated process because you can't just raise your hand and say aye. You also have to, we did vote, and we used the procedure of, what do you call it, of the Survey Monkey, a little technical tool on the internet that makes it possible to vote via internet, so that our WebEx participants and also all of us in the room would do that. It took about 45 minutes for each election. There was a little dispute at the beginning of the meeting, which was then decided, namely, what do we do with those members of the DPCA who are not present? Is it possible for others to sort of proxy their votes? This was turned down, so that those who were not participating in the room and were not on WebEx also could not vote. Yeah, we voted for 3 delegates. These delegates were Maria Dolores. The second was Gil Carbajal. Some of you might remember Gil. Gil is a Fulbright scholar and comes annually to visit us in Berlin, so we do know him. He used to be chair of Democrats Abroad Spain. And then also Adrian Jones, who was a very active member from Democrats Abroad Canada and was also chair there for quite a while, is now voting representative. Yeah, our German votes, so to speak, participated greatly. We gave them about 23% of the vote that they received, so it was quite a bit of voting strength that we had. And we also used this voting strength in such a way that we were doing so-called horse trading, meaning that country committees who had a candidate would approach us and ask us to vote for theirs. We then on our part said, okay, we would also appreciate if you would vote for ours. And in that way, we were able to work together with countries like France and Canada to get some of the candidates through. This to the chagrin of some of the smaller country committees who don't have that voting clout. If that's fair or not, I don't know, but that's part of politics. The second main job was to elect our representatives on the Democratic National Committee. As you all know, Democrats Abroad is part of the Democratic Party, and that is not only that we send our delegates to the Democratic National Convention, we also have standing members on the Democratic National Committee. To be exact, we have 3 votes. These are divvied up among 6 people so that we can get our representation from the various regions. So our job was to elect 3 regional representatives and 3 at-large representatives. The regional representatives are, of course, elected by the regions. So from the Americas, we had Sandra Laradance from Mexico, and from Asia Pacific, Gary Suvarnat from Thailand. And from EMEA, we had a competitive election. We had 2 candidates running. One, Caitlin Kraft Buchanan from Switzerland, who has already had a term as DNC representative for Democrats Abroad, and competing against her was Susan Hogg. Many of you know her. She was one-time vice chair of Democrats Abroad Germany, and a number of years she was the vice chair of the region Europe, Middle East, Asia, EMEA. Well, it was a close call. Caitlin won with 54.8% of the vote, and Susan got 45% of the next vote. So hats off to Caitlin, and our condolence to Susan. As a German delegation, we of course did vote for Susan, but I'm sure she will have a chance next time. Next time being in 4 years. The DNC representatives are always elected in a presidential election year. I said we had 6 people that we had to vote for, seeing as we had 3 women who won the regional representation. We also voted for 3 men to be our at-large representatives on the DNC. And that election was won by Bob Brager from Holland, and John Eastwood, who is our legal counsel at present. He's from Taiwan. And Stan Grossman from Great Britain. So as a total result of the 6 members on the DNC, 4 of them are new, which means we have some fresh ideas and new energy. And we have 2 who have already served on the DNC, so we do have continuity and experience. I think we have a good delegation. The third big, before I go on, one thing that I think is important for you all to know, these elections are all totally transparent, which means basically we are signing our ballot. It's all votes can be seen, and the voting results are online for all the members of the DPCA to see. So I can go online and I'll just see exactly who voted for whom. Everyone knows who voted for whom. There's no secrets. The losers and the winners knew who voted for them and who voted against them. So this is a principle of democratic accountability, seeing as all those who are members of the DPCA are voting for representatives and themselves are also elected. I think this is a proper principle, and the secret ballot has no place to be in that situation. It might be strange for some of you. I don't know if that should be the case for the election of, for say, a chapter chair, but that is a problem that has to be solved in the future. The third big thing that we did at Puerto Vallarta was to vote on a number of important resolutions. It's always a question of our platform. It does have to adapt. Our platform at the moment was from the year 2008. Mr. Bush was still the United States President at the time, so our platform is still filled with a number of topics that have changed. So anyway, this is the opportunity of any member of Democrats Abroad to come forward and put their resolution up there. It does not have to go the way that we did it with the nuclear resolution. You don't have to bring it first to a chapter and then to a country committee and then bring it forward. That's just the basis of making sure that you get a broad base for a resolution like that. That's the way we did it with the nuclear resolution. But there were also other resolutions. I'll mention a few of them. It would take all evening to get into the detail of this. The delegation from Britain wants to have a congressional representation for Americans abroad. Seeing as we are not represented in Congress, this was a suggestion. It was debated quite a bit, and I guess it's not the first time that this discussion has been there. I suppose that people have thought of this before. At any rate, the discussion led to tabling this resolution. The main argument against the resolution was that if we do have a congressional representation for Americans living abroad, that would mean that our weight that we have in our states would disappear. We would not be able to make that small difference that is so important for our organization. Democrats Abroad Mexico, being the host committee at that meeting, also brought in a number of resolutions which were important and that regarded this border situation. One resolution to stop illegal weapons smuggling from the U.S. to Mexico. Another one to improve the security of the U.S. border in a humane fashion. Another one was also to end the federal marijuana prohibition, the causality or the connection between drug running, criminality, guns, and so on, of course, also has a lot to do with this marijuana prohibition. So these were resolutions that were passed. There was also a resolution put forward to amend the Constitution. I mean, we can't do that ourselves, but we certainly can put our interests out there. To amend the Constitution so that corporations are no longer considered to be people. We know where that has led to, and also that resolution was passed. Our nuclear resolution, unfortunately, has not passed yet. That doesn't mean it will not pass, but due to the controversial character of this resolution, there are still are some members of Democrats abroad who are in opposition to phasing out nuclear energy. And so someone called for a roll call vote, meaning that it's not just a question of the ayes or the nays have it, but it would be written down exactly who voted for and against. Considering the fact that we were using our time to vote for delegates and representatives, we didn't have enough. So our chair, Ken Sherman, suggested that we do this vote within the next 30 days electronically. So our nuclear resolution, which started in Berlin, is still, so to speak, hanging in there, and we certainly hope that within the next 2 weeks that we will get a result. There were a number of other things going on, of course. There were presentations, there were workshops. One of the best workshops I participated in was together with Vicky Hansen, who did an excellent presentation on communication and what sort of things one should look at when one is communicating. What areas are we communicating in? What direction are we going? Whom are we addressing? I think it's an excellent, it was an excellent piece of work by Vicky, and I hope that we can get it and show it at some time. It's not only something for the leadership of our organization, but actually for all Democrats, all people who are working, so that one sees, you know, is this going to be work for the inside? Is this going to be communication that we need to get people riled up? Is this going to be something? Anyway, that was very good. There was a lot of socializing going on. We had I had three wonderful evenings there on Friday night. The local chapter of Democrats Abroad, Puerto, Vallarta, had a great reception together with Democrats Abroad Mexico at the home of a restaurant owner, a huge house where we could all sit, and we were not only invited for cocktails but also for a wonderful dinner with all kinds of entertainment. There was the classical Mexican marimba band. There was a phenomenal show, theater piece done by another chapter of Democrats Abroad Mexico, very professionally done. I hope we can get that on YouTube at some point. A little highlight of the evening, maybe some of you have seen this, is that Ken Sherman, our chair, jumped into the pool with all his clothing on, dressed as Uncle Sam, and yeah, he went to great depths for us. And there was also a little bit of funding going on. So fundraising was always a question there. We talked a lot about these things so that we can get enough money together to get our organization running and re-elect President Obama in November of this year. Well, thank you very much for your ear. I hope you have a continued good meeting, and let's keep our thumbs pressed and hope for the success of the people of Wisconsin to get rid of this terrible governor that they have, and send a signal to the rest of the country that we do not accept union busting. We want collective bargaining, and we don't agree with the program of the Republican Party trying to take away our rights and put in that corporate program everywhere. Okay. Have a good evening, and thanks for listening.